So for us, it's really about relationship building. Like, I think the stronger the brand's relationship with creators are, the better partner a creator is going to be back to the brand.
Hey Shannon, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Today we talk about fun things, integration in real life, online to offline. Vintage stars and celebrities getting on. We're gonna cover a lot of things. But before we get started on that, I always love to have the guest tell a bit about themselves using the map. Basically, is divided in three different sections. The first one is the mission, right? So basically, what do you aim to achieve with your work? The achievements, right? So anything that you're really proud of could be your life, could be your career, or both. And the last one is the purpose. So why do you do what you do?
First of all, I love this framework. It's very helpful. So, I'm the Senior Director of Consumer Engagement at Amika, and I lead an incredible team of 12. And really, my mission as a team leader is to foster a super collaborative, trusting environment. And everyone really likes each other on my team. I'm very proud of the team that we've built. I think, have a lot of fun while generating some really incredible results. And then, actually, on a personal level, the whole marketing team at Amika took a Strengths Finder workshop back in a recent offsite. And I learned that my number one strength is being a relayer, which means that I prioritize, kind of deep, meaningful one-on-one connections and friendships, which is very aligned to Amika's mission, the brand's mission of being a friend to all, which I'm sure that we will get more into.
Fantastic. And again, if there is anything else on top of it, maybe on the purpose side, is why did you want to to do this? Was it like in your background? Was it like something like because some people have done that all their life and there is their purpose. Some others were like, what, I work in something else. Then I was like, I wanted to join something different. So tell me a bit more about that.
I'm very proud that Amika has been named as a 2023 and a 2024 WWD Power Brands. We've been recognized as the favorite brand of teens, and we've grown our market share in shampoo and conditioner on the heels of a very successful and very fun campaign called Let's Get Clinical, which was really all about marrying the clinical results of our shampoos and conditioners with the incredible clean natural ingredients that make them up. And then purpose. I have been in the beauty industry for over a decade. I've been in New York for 14 years. I moved here from Georgia. And throughout the years, I think there's a lot of reasons people work in beauty. It's a very fun category and it's only grown throughout, my time in the industry. But really, I consider my purpose is to use whatever privilege that I have to make sure the brands that I work for represent the world that we live in a really positive way. And then for purpose, I have been in the beauty industry for over a decade. And throughout my time working for different brands, comes down to for me is using my privilege to make sure that the brands I work for reflect the world that we live in a positive way. And Amika's tagline is all hair is welcome. And we really take that to heart in everything that we do, whether that's, the creators that we work with, the products that we make, and the people that we hire.
Fantastic. And we're also gonna get into all that, right? Especially also about your activation in person, right? So many things happening here in the city, right? In New York City, in certain areas. We're gonna go into that for sure. And also something I wanted to ask you before we get into the ins and outs of all these activations is the DNA of the brand, right? Because I mean, I'm Italian. I know that Amica in Italian means friend, right? So it's something that it's such a common word for us, right? And so that already said, right? About friendships that already mentioned before. So I'm curious a bit more about the roots, right, of Amika when it comes to that. You already kind of said that, right? Everyone is a satellite type of hair. So I would like to get a bit more also when it comes to the marketing approach, right? If you had to just mention a few of the values of the brands, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Amika means friend. I take that to heart. Our values really kind of mirror those that you would probably want in a friend, being transparent, being supportive, being fearless. And I love that you use the word roots too, which is a, hair term. Root.
Yeah.
The brand has been around for about 15 years. And really, it's just making sure that our marketing reflects those values of being transparent, fun, inviting, warm, not talking down to you. So really, it just all comes back to being friends to all hairstylists, people, and the planet too.
And so, because of that, right, I want to go a bit more in details about all the different activations, right? So again, we said it's, about the inclusion, it's about like, getting different type of people with different hairs, like, and products that can work for everyone. And again, I saw many videos on TikTok about activations. I saw like, that we're going to talk about also like, outdoor activities, billboards and so on. So it's very also curious to see. I'm going to ask you a bit more later about how to integrate, right, the different type of medium, right, at the same time, what is effective, what is not, or like how we can combine them all together for the best efficiencies there. And one of the things that you did, right, it was with the volume mega mix, the campaign of TikTok, right, with Snooki, MTV reality star. How, first of all, like, how did the idea come out with that? How was the execution of it? Have you noticed anything like either in the comments or about like any feedback from the people? Tell me a bit more about that type of campaign there.
This was such a fun campaign to work on. I'm very proud of it. So we, in July this past year, we launched 3 new products that have the benefit of volume: Big Hit shampoo and conditioner, and Rising Star volumizing spray. So as you can probably surmise from the product names, the campaign and the visuals and the messaging all kind of tied to music. So we came up with the idea in partnership with an agency to create a kind of faux mock CD infomercial from back in the day. So kind of think of now that's what I call music, right? And we, needed kind of an anchor to lead the campaign. And these products in particular, this campaign really was geared toward, millennials, older millennials, maybe Gen X a little bit. So thinking about who could tap into to hit that nostalgia factor. And Nookie, I'll refer to her as Nicole going forward. She, her poof, it was an icon back then, it's an icon now. I kind of spoke to that voluminous look. So we enlisted her to create kind of she recreated 3 big hair looks from the 80s and the 90s, and the poof representing the 2000s. And she starred in this infomercial. We had custom songs that kind of spoke to each decade. And the campaign was so fun. All of the comments were so positive. She could really own the campiness and the silliness of the campaign, but not making it too, I don't think it was too over the top or silly, but it was definitely very engaging. So we were very pleased with how that turned out. She was such a great partner. And yeah, it was very successful.
So, like, that is a typical, like, nostalgic, right, type of campaign because it's not only like it comes from that MTV reality star era, right, but also the different styles, right, going through the different ages and eras, right. It's quite common, right, to go and like I've saw so many videos, right, of people. It's either dancing in different, like, eras, 70, 60, whatever, like, and then the same also like with hairstyle, because they represent society and it's just a fun way to do that. And so if on one side, right, we have the typical, celebrity reality star, on the other side, then we have creators, right, that are similar but very different in many other ways, right? And so for instance, again, talking about New York City, I know that there were activation like in Soho area and with some also like a hand painted billboard in the city. And I saw creators taking pictures, right, as a background with the billboard. Some others join also like event in person. How do you organize these type of events? What is the focus? What do you want to get out of it?
Well, first of all, it's a very functional team effort, very collaborative. But to take a step back, this campaign, the billboard, was in support of our newest addition to our dry shampoo collection, which was Perk Ultra. The concept for the product actually came from our community themselves. So it's very cool. So our Perk Up Dry Shampoo is our original Perk Up Dry Shampoo is the #1 prestige dry shampoo SKU in the US. But we had noticed some ratings and reviews, people saying, it's not quite strong enough. My hair gets super oily very fast. So just, for people whose hair gets a little oilier faster, they wanted something a little bit stronger. So we developed Perk of Ultra, and it has tapioca starch in it to kind of really absorb that oil once if you develop oil very quickly in your hair. And we put out a community casting call on our social channels to cast for it. So we wanted to find creators, Perk Up fans. Our Perk Up franchise is very beloved, so we knew that we wanted to bring the community in when it came to the actual stars of the campaign. So we found 4 amazing creators and Perk Up fans, and 2 of them were actually in this billboard. Casey Canavan, who is a Twitch streamer, and she's also a Navy veteran, and Georgia Bridgers, who's a content creator. So the shoot was in San Diego. All the models, captured content on the set. They have tons of fun. And then when the campaign launched in May, we flew Georgia and Casey to New York for another content creation day, and they saw themselves on this It is a 90-foot hand painted
was so that
flyer. It's a huge. It was, and their reactions when they saw the wall were just priceless. So they were so excited to see it. They saw some of the other out of home placements too, but it was really impactful and just created this really full circle moment that our community really loved.
no, I mean, like, this is, like, also not, like, uncommon to, like, you're in New York City, you see yourself in a billboard, right? I see also other creators with other companies do that in Times Square, right? And so you see that you go from, like, a small screen to a billboard, something new. So of course you want to get that. I'm pretty sure that you also got, like, as a company, earn media, right? Because of that, other people taking videos and everything, right? I'm pretty sure that also it's something that happened. So tell me a bit more about also the community, because in other episodes, we discussed about the importance of reading comments, right? What I call basically real time, like a focus group, right? And so basically, like, when that happens, I'm curious. How do you get, like, what actually matters between, like, all the noise, because there are so many comments all the time happening, right? So how do you select what is like, okay, this is actually interesting for us to change a product or to do a new line, compared to, yeah, this is interesting, but we don't really have the time for this.
That insight for Perk Up Ultra came over, several years. We'd seen a lot of success with our original Perk Up Original, and then we have Perk Up Plus too. But we just kept kind of seeing these reviews and felt that there was a need for something stronger. So it's not something where we see one review and go to PD, product development, but it's definitely it's over time. And if we're seeing kind of this groundswell on retailer websites and our own DMs and our comments. We have a very fast paced and collaborative environment at Amika. So we're able to kind of share these insights pretty quickly with our product development team.
Is your brand ready to amplify its reach? Well, the Influencer Marketing Factory is here for you. We are a global influencer marketing agency helping brands ignite their growth. From influencer identification to campaign strategy, handling legalities and agreements, to managing shipping and logistics, we got you all covered. We work with hundreds of brands across different verticals, from Fortune 500 companies to direct-to-consumer brands. And we don't just stop there. With detailed ROI analysis, we help brands like yours measure success, transforming impressions into conversions. You can find us at theinfluencermarketingfactory.com or just searching the Influencer Marketing Factory on Google.
Fantastic. And something else also wanted to ask you, still on the activation side, right? Because we said about the billboards before, right? And I saw, videos also on TikTok so basically what I like all the time it is that whenever you have something, outdoor, you can also then take a video, make it like an ad asset. You can make images, you can make carousels, right? But I also, with your team also, so that you did pop-up shops, right? And activations. First of all, I saw the ones in New York City, but did you also do in other cities in the US? Tell me a bit more also, like, if there is any strategic places that you usually go to. And when it comes to that also, how do you use any influencers? Like, do you invite them there? They take like typical photos, but are they also, I guess, part of the activation, right? Because I'm pretty sure that they can go there and make, like, some hairstyle, anything like that. So tell me a bit more about how they work and how do you, from the vision to the execution.
Well, I'll try to be succinct. There's definitely a lot to share. It's again huge team effort here. So we've had two pop-up series this year. The first was to support our smooth over frizz fighting treatment. So this launched back in May. It's an in-shower treatment. It works in 1 minute and it reduces, I believe, up to 73% of your frizz after one use. So with the timing of March, we decided to kind of take the show on the road and go to some very humid cities, some cities where, we know that we have a large community based on some of our, retailer and D2C data. So for 4 consecutive weekends, we went to Nashville, Austin, Houston, and then Miami. And we had this fully customized, fabricated tricked out truck that had huge glass windows, and people could literally go inside the truck, see the new product, explore the ingredients, learn about it, take photos, and they got tons of samples. And all the truck, each city was parked outside Sephora doors. So we were capturing consumer, right when capturing our audience, right when they were about to shop. And I was there all 4 weekends. It's so fun to talk to people to introduce people to the brand, to talk to people who are already fans and tell them about any products, ask how they heard about the brand. It's really, really fun and rewarding. Also exhausting, but very fun.
Yeah, I can imagine that. But I love that you had like this thing about saying, let's go with, very like humid city, right? Like, I used to live in Miami, so I know what does it mean, right? If you're in certain specific months, right, of the year, it's hard, right? And also, like, when you say about also talking directly with people, right? Because I'm pretty sure that you can have certain, like feedback from influencers, but then when you talk with people that are there for the products, right? So is there anything else that you learn during this? Again, you said it's very like, kind of, it's a lot, right? Going different cities, talking with people, but if you learn something as a marketer, as a person in this type of business, so what are the things that impress you the most after these conversations?
Yeah, I mean, people are so curious about beauty and hair is such an emotional category. So, when we're in these cities and you're like, oh, but here it reduces frizz. Oh, I need this. Like, I'm so glad you're here. Hair is a very emotional category. We think about how you feel when you walking out of the hair salon and your hair is done. It just puts a pep in your step. So it's really kind of about that emotional connection. So to promote the truck, we did work with influencers, local influencers in each city along the way. They got a preview. We created some content in partnership with them. Then we also hosted a brunch for some of them in Miami. Had our consumer engagement team there. Hosted a brunch. It was very intimate and just, again, it actually, made some people made friends there at this brunch that they still talk to. So again, kind of linking the brand back to friendship in a really fun way. And I love the mobile truck model because it's basically a mobile billboard. People don't have to know, the address of something. If they're in this outdoor mall or going to Sephora, they see this truck. They could even see it on the highway as the truck was driving from city to city. So I think it's a very effective, way to do a pop.
Absolutely. It's there just for like period of time. You can talk with people, you can go around. I see many companies do that in a very effective way. And what is also then funny is that this is very like in person, right? We talk about like a lot of activations, right? So it's either a billboard that is set there with the creators taking the, a selfie with that in the background to, pop-up stores, and this is like very in person. And then you also like did activation in something that is the total opposite. There is the metaverse, right? And especially like, Roblox. We already covered Roblox with some other companies in the past on this podcast, and always find it fascinating because it's something that, I don't know, maybe I'm getting to an age where it's a bit difficult for me to understand totally how Roblox works. So why don't you tell us a bit more about how did you use that? How was the approach for the metaverse? And also, what do you think are the pros and cons of it? Because again, there is so much, it's still new, right? For many, many people. So yeah, tell me a bit more as a brand, how to properly approach the metaverse.
I'm very proud of this project. So we know from our internal research that within 18 to 34 are our sweet spot. And as I mentioned, we were named as, the favorite brand of teens from a Piper Sandler survey. So looking at the channels that younger audiences use, Roblox popped up as this huge channel where they're spending tons and tons and tons of time. And there's millions of daily active users. So it's crazy. Yeah. So that's time that they're not spending on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, these channels that we're already invested in. So, as part of our ethos of being fearless and being risk takers, we decided to actually create our own kind of metaverse world within Roblox as a game. It's called the Amikaverse. And it really brings these like three different pillars of the brand to life. There's a hair salon where users have to choose the best Amika products to match their clients' concerns. There's a garden where users can grow ingredients like sea buckthorn, mango, raspberry. These are ingredients that we actually use in our products. And then there's a fun game where you can like kind of go throughout the world and collect a recyclable material, or you don't call it trash, but then you can take it to a recycling center and recycle this into packaging, which kind of mirrors how we use PCR, post-consumer recycled material, in our packaging. Is a really fun way to educate, to engage people. And, I think the pros, kind of everything I talked about, that's time, people on Roblox they're spending time there, and that's time they're not spending. So we're reaching them in channels that they're already on. I don't want to say it's a con, but a challenge is that it's a whole other marketing channel. So we have to have activation strategies. Giveaways are really engaging. So it's a whole other channel to manage. And it's definitely a channel that's new to a lot of people. But, we really prioritize innovation, and we were the first premium hair care brand in the US on Roblox. So that was very exciting too.
And do you think that is like as of now a game of primarily brand awareness, education, or are you also able to then convert? Let's say, I know that other brands are doing either a promo code, right? Or like there is a game that if you finish, it gives you an activation code or something, or maybe there is a drop collection. As you said, it's challenging, right? To be able to do that. But do you feel there is going to be a future like where it's going to be a bit more easy to integrate these from offline to online to offline again, the type of things, or do you think that as of now it's again primarily just a game of we do this, we experiment, we test it out, but it's still difficult to then bring the people maybe to activate on on a deal or something like that.
Yes. The goal right now really is brand awareness and just testing and learning. But, Roblox just partnered with Shopify. That was just announced recently. So it's definitely going to be easier to kind of switch back and forth. And we partner really closely with our D2C team. And there's ways we can integrate our loyalty program where if you do, you know, X, Y, and Z within the Roblox game, you'll get loyalty points on our website. So it's definitely, with the Shopify partnership especially, it's only going to get easier to integrate that. One other thing that I think it's interesting for is, we have a store in our the Amikaverse where users can buy custom hair or merch or little outfits, kind of meta in the metaverse to decorate their avatar. And it's kind of interesting to see what items people gravitate to most, and that can kind of almost help inform our merch strategy, our GWP strategy, right? Because if we see people looking for, I'm going to make this up, but for a beach bag or a bucket hat or a baseball cap, we can kind of get a sense of what types of items people are gravitating toward before we actually go make the IRL merch.
Very interesting, actually. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's gamification at the same time. If you want to put that in the metaverse, and it's actually an item you can buy potentially out there, most probably if you add that dream to have it with your avatar, most probably you also want to have it, right? In real life. So I think it's very interesting for you to study that and then bring it to real life again. And I have a last question for you today. And it's, what is the most important things for Amika when it comes to the creator economy in the next future? You said that fearless, you want to test, you want to do. Is there anything else in addition to the metaverse that we just discussed that you're like really focusing on?
We work with creators of all tiers, right? As I'm sure pretty much every brand, your macro, your mid tier, your micro, they all play different roles in our community. I think in beauty and in particular in hair, we have prioritized working with creators across multiple different like industries or interests. So not just your tried and true beauty creators who are incredible, by the way, but your gamers, your athletes, your travel enthusiasts. Again, based on some psychographic data some psychographic research that we've done, we know what our audience is interested in, so we can kind of tap into that through different creators. But for us, it's really about, I think consumers are getting more savvy, but they want to watch content from people who they look up to or who they relate to. So for us, it's really about relationship building. Like, I think the stronger the brand's relationship with the creators are, the better partner a creator is going to be back to the brand. So it's just prioritizing those relationships. We handle, all of our influencer marketing in-house just to make sure that it's, they're getting the best possible experience with the brand.
And is there anything else that I didn't ask you today and that you are either excited to share, things that you work it on, or something that again you're looking forward to see the creator economy happening soon?
No, I mean, just, we have a fun Roblox roadmap for 2025. We have some fun events lined up, but, can't share too much right now, but I really appreciate you having me here. Thank you so much.
Of course, no, I thank you for sharing the journey so far. Quite curious to see what is next. Again, your team and yourself like very, very active in person and online. So very curious to see, and best of luck for everything there. And again, thank you for joining us today, Shannon.
Of course. Thank you so much.
This was the Influence Factor by the Influencer Marketing Factory, and I'll see you next week.